Congressman Franklin, thank you for participating in our 2022 WhistleStop political rally. By purchasing a video interview, you have allowed our chamber to educate the citizens of Polk County about the upcoming election and the issues and candidates on the ballot. Thank you. Since your campaign has purchased this video interview, the Florida Division of Elections does require you to disclose that fact with the following statement.
Yes, thanks, Sarah Beth. Yes, this is a paid political advisement paid for by Scott Franklin for Congress.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. And we'll kick it off with some questions now. So first, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm originally a Georgia native. I moved to Florida in 1978. Went to Lakeland High School. So other than time I've been in the military, Polk County has been my home for the last, gosh, how long is that now? 44, is that right? Long time, 44 years or so of my life. I had a lifelong ambition to fly jets for the military. So after I graduated from Lakeland High School, I went off to the U.S. Naval Academy and went into jet training, and then spent the next 14 years on active duty. I was in active duty from 1986 to 2000, and I flew combat missions in the first Gulf War and in Bosnia and Kosovo. I left active duty in 2000, returned to Lakeland, came back to Polk County, joined the insurance business that my father had been in, Lanier Upshaw Insurance and Risk Management. We had offices around Polk County. I bought his interest out and served in business for the next 20 years after that, before we sold the company. Along the way, I served in a number of different capacities in the community, a number of different civic organizations, and also on the Lakeland City Commission. In November, I'll have been married for 32 years to my wife, Amy, and we have 3 adult children who are also all graduates of Lakeland High School.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scott. And so you are currently a sitting congressman. So what are you most proud of during your first term in Congress?
Well, there's a lot to learn as a freshman, and I've also learned that being in the minority is a lot different than if you have the majority. And without 218 votes, it's hard to get a lot of legislation done that you'd like to get passed. So you figure out where you can, pick your battles and score your wins and chalk them up where you can. I'd say the things I'm most proud of are what we've been able to do with our Department of Defense. I served on the House Armed Services Committee, and our annual National Defense Authorization Act is the biggest bill that goes through Congress each year. We've passed it out for the last 62 years in a row. There's no other committee that's been able to do that with their work. And I've been able to have a lot of influence in shaping our military, which is near and dear to me, having spent a career in the military. For this past year, we got 15 different provisions into the Defense Authorization Act, which is going to do a lot to help our troops and strengthen our national security. But I have learned that in the minority, you don't really get to pass a lot of laws. We can do kind of messaging bills, but I'm not so much about messaging as I am trying to get things done. So what we've learned is that we can send letters to the administration and do things to try to hold oversight and accountability. And just some of those that have been effective that we've had victories on include sending one to Secretary Mayorkas, who had mentioned in a hearing that he was going to establish a Department of Information, or a Board of Information, which we call the Ministry of Truth, which sounded Orwellian to us. And we drafted a letter quickly and got 195 of my colleagues on the Republican side of the House, almost all the Republicans, to get on board with that. And within a week, that idea was disbanded. There was another initiative to take Iran off the known terror watch list, which is just sheer lunacy. But because of where the administration has gone with our energy policy, we're having now to try to reach out to dictators to get them to help supply oil to us. That was a bad idea, to try to take the Iranian Republican Guard Corps off the terror watch list. So we sent a letter about that. Within a few days, that idea was disbanded. And then, most recently, and one that kind of comes home to Polk County, when we saw the surge in violence after the Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade, right there in Winter Haven, we had the graffiti and the vandalism and the threats against the pregnancy center there. We were wondering why the administration wasn't taking this seriously and investigating it. So we led a letter, and now the FBI has launched investigations into these. So that kind of oversight has been kind of gratifying in the minority to be able to get some things done.
Thank you. That's a lot in 2 years and a little bit of time. So
Only a year and a half, actually. But yeah,
year and a
we're going to
half.
run into reelection again. Yeah.
Not quite there.
Yeah.
So we spent the better part of last year in Florida talking about redistricting. So
Right.
currently you sit in District 15,
Mhm.
and you now will be living in District 18. So District 18 is essentially a new district for our county. It includes Winter Haven, and Winter Haven really is the largest municipality represented in that district because it's the biggest territory. So how do you plan to engage with Winter Haven and the local community while traveling back and forth from DC?
Well, so first, just to clarify, I haven't moved. District where I live now in Lakeland is in District 15, where I live going forward, same place as in District 18. So I've always felt it's important to represent the people where you live. I live in this community. I work in it. My family I've raised my kids here. And so I am very attuned to the issues within our district. It's a significantly different district than the one I've been representing. I'm currently representing, and with 8 counties, it's a lot of territory. So basically, from I-4 on the north side, we go all the way down to almost to the Everglades. So we've got half of Lake Okeechobee. It's Polk, Highlands, Hardy, Hendry, Glades, Okeechobee, DeSoto, Collier. I may be missing one, but anyway, a lot of counties, a lot of issues in towns. And honestly, I want every single municipality in that district to feel that they're our VIP and number one. And we have a tremendous staff that when I'm in DC, they're working issues back there. But when I'm back home in Florida, we're on the road all the time. So we want to have mobile office hours where we'll be going around to the different communities, working on constituent casework, but also just getting around and finding out the issues that are most important in those communities, and whether it's helping push initiatives at the state level with state funding where we can offer letters of support, or working on issues federally, we'll do that as well.
Awesome. So what do you believe should be the top 3 priorities of Congress for the upcoming year?
Well, I'd say there's more than 3, but I heard this morning, I thought it was kind of clever, but it really strikes home when you look at the polling that's out there. This election really is it's a 2G election. It's about gas and groceries. And right now, it's sort of like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have a roof over your head and food in your belly, nothing else really matters. So we've got to reverse a lot of the bad policies that have come out of this administration over the last year and a half. And a lot of that's going to be taking measures to restore our energy independence. We need to get gas prices back down. A lot of what we're seeing now at the pump is self-inflicted. It didn't have to be this way. We had worked all my life to get energy independence, and within a few short months of the Biden administration taking over, we handed that over. The other is getting a grip on inflation. We dump trillions of dollars into the economy. It's not a surprise that we have the inflation that we do now. But we've got to be able to walk and chew gum. So it's more important than that. We've got to secure our borders. We have a lot of different initiatives, and candidly, Republicans take I think some fair criticism that when we last had control of the House in 2016. The Republican Party did not come in ready to act on day one, and the voters reminded us of that, and that's why Republicans lost control of the House in 2018. So we've established a number of different task forces. There's actually 7 of them, and I want to make sure I don't lose any of those. But we have task forces on jobs in the economy. There's like the future of the American freedoms, which basically that's everything from Second Amendment rights to free speech and all those others, energy, climate and conservation, American security, which is not just our national security abroad, but also our domestic security against crime, against securing our borders. We have a Healthy Future task force that's looking at healthcare and the things we can do to improve that for Americans. Big tech censorship and big data. That's a concern a lot of folks have, and also China accountability. I've been attuned to the issues from the defense side of the threat that China poses to our country, but it's not just defense, it's economic, and it's a number of different areas. As we've seen during COVID, with our supply chain disruptions, we've got a lot of areas where we have become far too dependent on other countries out there for our security, and China is one of those greatest threats.
So what do you consider to be the biggest challenge of the position that you're running for?
Wow, that's a tough one. I would say It's really twofold. I'd say managing expectations in one sense. Everybody wants all their problems fixed right away. And I've learned, when I served in local government at the city level, we could have a city commission meeting on a Monday, make a decision, and by the end of the week, we'd be seeing progress. And if we didn't like the progress the next week, we could change it. Government in Washington doesn't work that fast, and it's not really supposed to work that fast. There should be a deliberative process that takes time. It shouldn't be as paralyzed as we've seen it, and I understand that frustration. But managing people's expectations of what's realistic that we can get done and what can't be done. And another is when I represent 780,000 people, we'll get people who are angry no matter what the vote is. There's a lot of people really upset on both sides of the issue, and just trying to communicate in a way that explains why we voted the way we did. I first and foremost, I'll take the interest of the district at heart. I mean, I'm voting the will of the people, but obviously everybody in my current 15 and the future District 18 don't always think alike on every issue. So there's managing that. And I would say along with that, it's just as important is managing the disinformation that's out there. We know that now. We live in a society where people are very suspicious of what they read and see and hear. And we spend an unbelievable amount of time trying to communicate and correct people's understanding of things that quite frankly is often wrong. Some of it is well intended. There's also a lot of malicious disinformation out there. I get people calling, screaming at our staff about, why did you vote for this or that? And it's not even the truth. So there's a lot of that that's just, it's frustrating, but it goes with the job.
Yes, it is. But so why should voters choose you over the other candidates?
Well, first, I have tremendous respect for anyone who put their name on the ballot. Having done that at the city level and then having gone through one congressional election and now the second time, it's tough. Running for office isn't for sissies, and it's easy for people to sit on the porch and criticize and throw stones. And I'm a big fan of Theodore Roosevelt. I really believe in his old the man in the arena. You got to get in the arena and be willing to get muddy and get bloodied and to make things happen. But I think if people took a serious look at the candidates that we have for this race, the expertise, the background, the experience I have just really is head and shoulders above the rest of the peers that I'd be running against. I have no one else here in the race has a career in the military like I've had, so I understand defense issues and foreign policy. I ran a successful large business for 20 years. We were the best places to work in Polk County for 13 consecutive years. We were the best company to work for in Florida for 4 years. So I understand the business side of things and the economics and what that entails. I've worked in city governments. I'm a firm believer in home rule. I believe that government closest to the people works best. That's why I'm a really strong believer in straight states' rights. If a right or a duty for Congress isn't specifically enumerated there in the Constitution, I believe it goes back to the states. So I will be one to push things back down to the state level. But I also have an understanding of the kinds of big macro issues that can only be resolved at the federal level. So I think that combined with the fact that I'm here, I'm already in the fight. I know the issues. I've developed a strong network of peers. I'm working my way up through seniority to be able to be into some positions to do a lot of things to help people within our district. And I've got a career of service. It's one thing. It's easy to talk if someone's never run about what they might do. I think if people were to really look fairly at my background and see that really my entire life has been about service to the community and the country, and I'm just ready for the opportunity to keep serving.
And thank you again for participating with us in this video and giving us the opportunity to educate the public on what you stand for and some of the issues coming forward in this election.